I mean,
But at least I don't get hay fever.
that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
That's probably why cats are the preferred, huh?
Yeah. When goats die, you just throw them out by like
You
the river.
You just throw out goats? You don't bury them?
No, you don't bury them.
Do you feed them to other goats? Goats eat like anything.
No. You keep them away from that pasture.
Okay, that makes sense. Were you raised from that?
No, my aunt, like, she still actually does it.
Okay.
Yeah, they have big combines and stuff like that, and they're fucking terrifying. Have you ever stood next to a combine before?
Never. Not
They're
really.
literally like 3 of us tall.
That's really tall.
It's terrifying.
Welcome to Soundcheck.
Though the road ahead may be perilous, he will keep you safe. Mark Philipp, ladies and gentlemen.
Imagine one day you wake up with a giant snake wrapped around your torso. If you think this is a dick joke, you will be surprised. Giant snake wrapped around your torso. Try as you might, you can't get it off no matter what you do. You try to pull at it, tug at it, wrestle with it, and it just tightens. Sometimes it tightens around your torso and your arms and your legs and your neck so hard, and it keeps you in bed all day. Sometimes it loosens and lets you out of bed. But no matter what, that giant snake is always wrapped around your torso. You go about your daily life with a giant snake wrapped around your torso. You find yourself at a party. A friend of you approaches, says, "Hey, haven't seen you in a while. How have you been?" You say, "Everything's been going great, except I got this giant snake wrapped around my torso." And he goes, "Bro, it's a party. Nobody wants to hear about the giant snake wrapped around your torso." And you look around the room and you see half the people in this room have their own snakes wrapped around their torso. And you point this out and he goes, "Bro, we're here to have a good time. If you want to talk about the giant snake wrapped around your torso, go talk to somebody who cares. Like your mom." So you do. You get lunch with your mom. Your mom asks you how you're doing. And you say, "Mom, everything's going great, except, you know, I got this giant snake wrapped around my torso." And your mom goes, "Why do you even have a giant snake wrapped around your torso? Am I a bad mother? I gave you everything you ever needed. I fed you, I clothed you, everything that you ever wanted, everything that you ever needed. And now you come to me and tell me that you have a giant snake wrapped around your torso. I don't think so." You go, "Mom, I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying it's there and I can't get rid of it." And she goes, "I don't want to hear it. If you need to talk to somebody about the giant snake wrapped around your torso, go talk to somebody who cares. Like a snake charmer." So you do. It takes a little bit longer than necessary to find a snake charmer that takes your insurance. And you say, "Mr. Snake Charmer, sir, got this giant snake wrapped around my torso. Can you get rid of it?" And he goes, "No, of course not. What am I, magic?" No. But what I can do is I can give you topics of conversation to have with the snake to loosen the snake's grip. But the snake knows how to learn, so you have to constantly re-up your catalog of conversation topics to have with the snake forever. Alternatively, we can give you this big goofy shirt that goes on over the snake, smothers it. But the shirt is so big and so goofy, you have to walk around and never feel quite like yourself again. And sometimes the shirt just makes the snake angry. So you walk around wearing this big goofy shirt, going about your daily life. And then one day it happens. The shirt makes the snake angry. And you find yourself trapped in bed with the snake wrapped around your torso as tight as it can be, wrapped around your arms as tight as it can be, wrapped around your legs as tight as it can be, holding you down, hissing right in your ear, on and on and on until finally you give in and you go, "Okay, snake, you win! You win! Take me!" And the snake bites you and you pass out. You wake up in a hospital bed, surrounded by friends and family. And they look at you and they go, "Honey, if the big snake wrapped around your torso was bothering you, you should have said something." And through tears in your eyes and a crack in your voice, you reply, "I thought I wasn't supposed to talk about my penis! It was a dick joke the whole time!" I told you you'd be surprised. All right. All right, this one's for the fellas. Fellas, where you at? Make some noise. Fellas, gentlemen, boys. Fellas. You ever have a dream where you're strangling your dad with your bare hands? And you wake up with some wicked-ass morning wood? Yeah! All right, this one's for the ladies. Ladies, where you at? Make some noise, ladies, women, girls. Ladies. You ever have a dream where you're strangling your dad with your bare hands? Yes. And you wake up and that guy lying in bed next to you who's 30 years your senior has some wicked-ass morning wood? All right, this one's for everybody. Everybody, where you at? My individuals, my people. Everybody. You ever have a dream that you have a better dad? I have chronic nightmares. I've had a nightmare every single night for over a decade. And there's not many solutions to that. But one thing that I've worked out through the use of therapy is lucid dreaming. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the process, that's where in the middle of a dream, you become aware of the fact that you are within a dream and you are able to exert some level of control over your dream self and the dream world around you. And when you have chronic nightmares, that's a fascinating experience. That's like getting a treasure map where X marks the trauma. We can just dig in and find out where that bruise came from. Learn about ourselves. For example, do you ever have that dream where you're getting chased by something terrifying? Like commitment? And you're trying to run away from commitment, and it's getting closer and closer and closer, and your legs start slowing down like you're running through quicksand, and commitment gets closer and closer, and then you stop in one place and you can't move. Commitment's breathing down your neck. That's when you go lucid and you pull out your machete and you hack your legs off right below the knee because you would rather drag your bloody stumps for miles than give your mother the grandchildren that she craves. You ever have that dream where that twin brother you were supposed to have who died in the womb comes back? and he looks exactly like you, but somehow exactly the opposite. Some bizarro facsimile of what could have been were it not for the umbilical noose. And as he's gazing at you, it becomes obvious what he wants. He wants to take your place. That's when you go lucid and you let him. These are your problems now. Good luck, you stillborn bitch. I don't have health insurance. You ever have that dream where all the times you donated sperm for beer money comes back to haunt you? And gathering around your feet is a collection of malformed toddlers that have your eyes? And as they stare up at you, weeping, they raise their hands, and the skin terraforms, twisting and writhing, forming into fleshy baseball mitts. And they scream out, "Daddy, play catch! Daddy, play catch!" That's when you go lucid and you play catch. 'Cause in this dream, goddammit, you are the better dad. No, I have a lot of sleep issues, nightmares. I've caught myself sleepwalking a few times. I've woken up naked outside. I have sleep apnea occasionally, where I'll just stop breathing. But probably the worst thing I have, it's called sexsomnia. Sounds fake, but hear me out. That's where, when my brain is in the middle of all those horrible nightmares, my body starts fucking. One time I woke up with a beautiful woman cascading herself over me. And she goes, "Mark, last night was really something amazing." Which is not a review that I've ever gotten when I intended it. So I have to ask, what sort of loving God would grant me the ability to give good dick? But only on accident! God plays favorites. I don't know. I've been sober for over a year, you guys. Thank you. Which means that I've been bored for over a year, you guys. It's the dark side of sobriety they don't tell you about. Like, don't get me wrong, the positives are great. I've gotten healthier, both emotionally and physically. I've lost a bunch of weight. I'm not waking up hungover 6 days a week. Keeping holy the day of Sabbath, of course. But when it's Friday night, and I'm curled up in bed, reading a book about elves, and outside my window, I can hear both the going to and the coming from pilgrimage from the bars. And those people are having more fun than I've had in months. It does things to me. I've caught myself looking up things to do that I would never imagine that I would try. And that's how I found myself flipping through an informational pamphlet on a nudist colony. A couple things about this colony struck me. First, the location. Semi-secret. Located in the woods, several miles off of a very common hiking path. In the back of the pamphlet, there was a list of rules for the nudist colony. Rule number 1, nudity is 100% required. No clothes of any kind. In big, bold letters, our staff and residents take this rule very seriously. Rule number 2, no firearms unless you have a concealed carry permit. So we take all this information together, and that launches us into a very possible reality where you could be going down your favorite hiking path, decide you want to explore the woods a little bit, and you would come across a completely naked man who becomes furious at the sight of you, reaches elbow deep inside of himself, pulls out a shit-stained Beretta, points it at your head and says, "Take off the fucking clothes." And that's the shit that's gonna drive me right back to the bottle. Jesus. Yeah, yeah, I got some questions. Why have we decided collectively that it's perfectly acceptable for a fairy to sneak into our children's bedrooms, take their teeth, and exchange it for human money? What is the tooth fairy doing with all of that human money? What is the tooth fairy doing with all of the children's teeth? Are children's teeth the currency in fairyland? What is the current exchange rate of children's teeth to human money? Are the children of our world getting shafted by a raw deal by a mischievous shyster fairy? Would it have been a good investment as a child to hold on to all of my children's teeth? Should we collectively be hoarding our children's teeth as a dragon hoards gold in preparation for the inevitable worldwide economic collapse? After the inevitable worldwide economic collapse, will we be able to use our hoard of children's teeth as leverage to earn entry into the safety of fairyland? Will they let us in peacefully? Or will we be forced to win our assimilation into fairyland through bloodshed and war? After we have finished carpet bombing the citizens of fairyland, will it be difficult to adjust to an enamel-based economy? Can you imagine going to purchase a cup of coffee, opening up your wallet, and it's overflowing with children's teeth? Is anyone else confused and frightened? I'm a big fan of medicine. I think I prefer the early stuff, though. You know, back before medicine sold out and went all commercial. Like, you know, back when you'd be like, I got a tummy ache, and they would just start sticking leeches on your face and giving you heroin. Just that was back when medicine was punk rock. Medicine's evolved, for better or for worse. But I think there are a lot of current issues that could be solved if we were to approach things the way that they did back then. You know, for example, like myself included and a lot of other people in this room maybe, health insurance just might not exist for you. And when you get sick, oh well. You live in constant fear of illness. Old-timey medicine had a solution for this. You see, if you couldn't afford surgery, you could volunteer yourself to be strapped to a chair in the middle of a black box theater while dozens of med students watched on as their professor performed the operation. And then they invented anesthesia. And then things got really interesting. because you would get the operation that you asked for, but an addendum to the contract included anything you didn't ask for. Entire generations of med students learned how to perform facelifts, colonoscopies, and experimental pap smears on passed out peasants. And if you ask me now, Mark, is this really the solution? I say sign me right the fuck up. Do you have any idea how many wackadoo cyborg doctors are out there right now who just can't find anybody willing to be the first? I'm going to walk into that operation with kidney stones and an empty pocket, and I'm going to walk out with a bionic eye, nipples that shoot lasers, and 2 dicks. And those assholes at Medicaid that keep denying my application can suck both of them. I saw a dog with some ridiculous labia. Like fucking floor dragging. Like what? Will anybody be offended if I use the term flappy dappies? Like floor dragging, like just erasing sidewalk chalk. Just fucking. I mean, this pooch had a cooch that was loose. Like, fucking horrible. 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 I had to stop what I was doing. And I just for like, fuck, man. This dog pussy. Like. And as I was staring at this dog's genitals for too long, I started to have a moment of clarity. You know, I started to realize, like, this is the first time I've ever noticed dog vagina. And, like, out in the wild, I have seen and noticed and pointed out dog balls over and over and over again. Like, not a day goes by where I don't notice dog balls. But this was the first time I noticed a dog vagina. And I have to ask, does that make me a bad feminist? I don't think I'm that bad of a feminist. I mean, I believe in a woman's right to choose. Yeah, thoroughly I believe in a woman's right to choose. I believe if a woman wants to terminate her pregnancy under the careful care of doctors and nurses in a sterile hospital environment, anesthesia, painkillers, with the adequate amount of aftercare, I think that's great. I think if a woman chooses to keep the fetus in a jar on her front porch to frighten all the neighbor children, I think that's better. And if a woman chooses to repeat this process over and over and over again, dedicating a closet in her home to shelves upon shelves of pickled feti, like some sort of macabre shrine to the unborn, then I think I'm in love. Now, I remember the first time I fell in love. It was online. Her name was Green Day Girl _1992. Met in a chat room. She was a lot of firsts for me. First cyber sex. First time saying I love you. After talking to her for a few weeks, she asked me if I would send her a naked picture of myself. And you know, I was 11. And I grew up fat. So this was both an exciting and a terrifying experience for me. But I really did believe that what Green Day Girl _1992 and I had was special. And I did it. I created child pornography of myself. and I sent it to Green Day Girl _1992, and she never spoke to me again. I've carried this with me for years. I firmly believe that every relationship that I have had has been directly affected by the feeling of rejection in this one moment. But recently I got curious. And I decided to do some research. And I found out Green Day Girl _1992 is still using the same email address. And that email address is still connected to currently active social media accounts. And I'm happy to report, you guys, I didn't frighten away my first love with my floppy boy body. Oh no, I just disappointed a pedophile. And according to his LinkedIn, he's doing pretty well for himself, so I think I'm going to try again. I could use the health insurance. Love. I've done dumb things for love. I think the dumbest thing I've ever done for love, I was 14 years old, and I wanted to impress a girl. And my bright idea was to plan a school shooting. It made sense at the time. My dad had guns. I had a school. And she had a thing from Marilyn Manson, and when you Google him, Columbine was the first thing that comes up. I just put it all together. I showed her my plan, and you know what? She was not impressed. Next day, I found myself face to face with the high school guidance counselor, and she's looking at me going, "Mark, I hear you're a very ambitious young man. Tell me, why exactly do you want to plan a school shooting?" And what I should have said was that I was raised by abusive and neglectful people that led me down the very unfortunate path where the only way that I can find to effectively communicate is through grand attention-seeking behavior. Case in point, I do stand-up comedy. But I've also never been very good at taking responsibility for my actions. So instead of all that, I just said, I'm hearing voices. Which was not true. I did not get the girl. Instead, I got an all-expense-paid trip to a long-term psychiatric care facility. But where one love dies, another one blossoms. Because my first night in that facility, I met the most perfect girl. We had lunch together. Our rooms were right across the hall. We weren't allowed to leave our rooms. But we could leave the door open and talk all night. And she had the most adorable little quirk, you guys. She loved eating toothpaste. She was good at it, too. Oh, my God. Her teeth were so clean and her stomach was so pumped. She was so good at eating toothpaste, they wouldn't let her have it. So the second dumbest thing that I've ever done to impress a girl was wait until security had their heads turned and I slipped her a pristine, unopened tube of some contraband Colgate. She was impressed. That night we were sitting in our rooms talking with the doors open. And she looks at me and she goes, "Mark, that toothpaste was probably the sweetest thing anybody's ever done for me." And given the circumstances, I believe her. And she goes, "Mark, I want to do something special for you in return." And she disappeared from view. And a few moments later, she reappeared in the doorway, completely topless. And you know, the first time you see breasts in person, It's a very important moment in a young man's life. And I'll never forget it. Because what she did next was reach into the waistband of her hospital pajamas, pull out a butter knife that she snatched from the cafeteria, and I watched as she slowly carved my name into her chest. I knew then that she was not the one. Because if she really cared about me, if she really loved me the way that I love her, then she would know. She would know that I spell Mark with a K. What's in a name, though? I mean, that's Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, Scene 2. Juliet laments over her balcony. What's in a name? Would not a rose by any other name smell just as sweet? And I am here to argue, absolutely fucking not. In fact, I would argue that our entire perception of roses comes down to a very particular name change. You know, I don't think the way we feel about roses would stay the way that we feel about roses if they were not called roses, but were instead called baby penis. Come springtime, we shall frolic in the meadow and smell in the air the dulcet aroma of baby penis. The happiest day of my life, I watched my beautiful bride-to-be walk down the aisle, clutching between her slender fingers a carefully curated bouquet of baby penis. Every baby penis has its thorns. Words matter, names matter. If the title of that play was Adolf Gaddafi, Hussein, Dahmer, Wayne Gacy, and Juliet, she would not love him. Jesus Christ. I don't know. I was raised in an evangelical Christian household, so like I feel guilty when I come. Doesn't stop me though. Like, so far, all my sex has been premarital. And in the environment that I grew up in, that was a no-no. You know, I have a cousin who didn't get her first kiss until her wedding day. Yeah. It's wild. And, you know, I don't think I could do it. You know, not because I'm a pig, but just like, I'm not a gambling man. Because when you do that, you have no idea what they have. You know, ladies, imagine you meet the man of your dreams. He's tall, dark, handsome, charming, funny, everything you ever wanted in a man. You date for a while. You get engaged. You have a beautiful wedding. You have a beautiful reception. And that night, it comes time to consummate. And you wait on bed, eager, trembling. And your new husband walks into the room, and he drops his underpants. And where his penis should be, antlers. Oh dear. That's the man you gave yourself over to in the eyes of God. Fellas, don't feel left out. This is the part of the joke where it's your turn. Fellas, you meet the woman of your dreams. Tall, dark, handsome. She's charming, funny, everything you ever wanted. You date for a while, you get engaged, beautiful wedding, beautiful reception. That night you're laying in bed, trembling, shivering, eager. Your new bride walks into the room wearing some saucy lingerie. She drops her panties. She got a cooter? Nope, she's got a gun! That's why all my sex is exclusively premarital. I don't want to spend the rest of my life sticking my cock in a Glock. I know. I'm not sorry. Jesus. You know what sucks about my mom? She's dying. It's like not good enough for her to just waste away. Like she has to make a thing out of it. Like she's taking this limited timeline as an opportunity to reveal things and confess things that she needs to get off of her chest before she's gone. And she does it at just the most inopportune moments. Like, I was on a date, like, with a woman. And my phone rang and I saw that it was my mom and I didn't want to be rude, so I didn't answer it. And my phone rang again and I didn't answer it. My phone rang a third time. I thought it must be something important. So I said, "Excuse me," to my date. I turned to the side. I picked up my phone and I said, "Mom, what's going on? Is everything okay?" And she goes, "Marky, I just have to tell you this right now before it's too late. Did you know that when you were little, you were molested by your grandmother?" And I hung up the phone. And I turned back to my date. And she looks at me and she goes, "Mark, you're as white as a ghost. What was that?" And I said, "Ethel." It was an explanation. Now please, continue your story about growing up during the Great Depression. I'm just kidding. My mom didn't tell me that I got molested. I found out that I got molested the old-fashioned way. Through therapy. You know therapy, right? The gift that just keeps taking. I tell you though, you want to have a good time? Lie to your therapist and get away with it. Woo, that's a rush. A lot of people, they want to get the adrenaline pumping by like skydiving or bungee jumping. Not me, man. When I want to get my blood moving, I just bullshit Judy. Works 100% of the time. "Mark, you've been doing well lately." "Yup." "Any suicidal thoughts?" "No." I don't know. Death has been a big part of my life lately. Big part of all of our lives, I guess. I guess you can't really escape it. I had to put a pet down. Yeah, it was a pet rat. And yes, thank you. I miss him very much. I had to do it myself. Because it turns out it costs the exact amount of money to put down a rat as it does to put down a dog. And I know a shit deal when I hear it. So you know what that means. dollar store gas chamber. Baking soda, vinegar, 2-liter plastic container, piece of rubber tubing, and some tape. That's right. For the low cost of $5, you too can take all the ingredients necessary to put together a grade school science fair volcano, and you can construct an airtight mercy kill canister. It's difficult at first because they struggle. They writhe and twist as their air runs out. You question if this was the right decision to make the entire time. And then everything becomes bliss as they slowly drift away into sleep. And their heart rate slows. And their eyes close. And they peacefully shuffle off into eternity. It's also at that moment when you realize that maybe Kevorkian was onto something. Because I'm sober, but that feeling is cocaine. Cocaine for my empathy, cocaine for my spirit. I am God. And that's why now I spend my free time hanging out at hospice. Like, yo, you're looking for an exit. I'm looking for a hobby. Let's help each other. I mentioned earlier that my mom's on the way out. That's a nice way to put it, isn't it? She's gonna croak. No, I mean, she will, but... And it honestly has been a very odd devastation on the family. There's been a lot of curiosity about what we're going to do, like with her. You know, are we going to cremate her? Are we going to bury her? What are we going to do with her body? And my idea is, I think we should keep her. Like, we'll just set her up in the living room in her favorite chair, dress her up in her favorite clothes, surround her with her favorite things, put her favorite show on TV. And then once a year, we're going to take out all the necessary permits to organize a parade. And we're going to prop her stiff body into a wheelchair, wheel her up and down the street, showing her off in the neighborhood. And you know, when I told this idea to my family, they said, that sounds disrespectful. And does it? Like, you know what sounds disrespectful to me? Taking my recently deceased mother, chopping her open, draining her of her blood, filling her veins with strange chemicals, spending thousands of dollars to put a whole bunch of makeup on her face, make her look as beautiful and as presentable and as easy to look at as possible, and then immediately bury her 6 feet underground like she's too gross to look at. That sounds disrespectful to me. Honestly, a lot of the way that we treat our dead is disrespectful across the board. Have you ever been at a funeral and somebody's giving a eulogy and he's going on and on about this recently deceased, like, he was such a beautiful soul, he was such a good man, he was perfect, we will miss him. But you know deep down that guy in the box was a fucking asshole? They say don't speak ill of the dead, but you just lied about a man. You lied about him. You were untruthful. You took away his flaws. You took away the very thing that made him human. That's disrespectful. Do you know that you can order cremations online? As soon as your loved one dies in the hospital, you can log on, put in your credit card information, and they will ship the ashes right to you. From the hospital bed to the crematorium to FedEx, right to your front door. Eliminate any and all humanity from the process. That's disrespectful. There used to be a room in your house where you could put your recently deceased, dress them up in their favorite clothes, surround them with their favorite items and their favorite food, and you could leave them there for days, weeks, sometimes even months, long enough for all their friends, family, loved ones, anybody could come and see and be with the body and make peace with the death in their own way at their own time. That room used to be called the death parlor. Do you know what they call it now? Living room. That was their room. And you gave it to the living? That's disrespectful. So what do I want done with my body? It's a good question, and I have an answer. You see, when I die, I want to be used for something important. I want my death to mean something. So when I die, I want my ashes loaded into a bullet. And I want to be shot through a watermelon in slow motion. Because I will die as I lived, entertaining stoners. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Stay safe. I love you very much. Please stay safe.
My